loves, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be answering two questions that I saw on my notifications because sometimes I do, I guess, like a little Q&A, and if you want me to answer questions or something like that you are just curious about, just leave them in the comment section and I'll make a video about it. If I think it's like, okay, let me just answer that in a video, then I'll do that. So we're gonna answer these two questions, which both have to deal with my native side. So we're going to talk about being a Native American. This is not going to be a really long video, but I'm just going to answer these two questions because I do think that they're important to talk about. So we're going to be covering blood quantum in this as well. So before we get started, don't forget to use the code HOLIDAYS 2023 for 33% off all of my services on my website. If you need a reading, a year in reading or forecast or whatnot, all that stuff is on my website. The link will be down below and the code will be in your screen so you can see it. And with that being said, we're going to get started. So the first question that Kali Marvel asked said, I have a question for you. How do you feel in today's American society as a Native American? Well, first off, the term American period, I don't like at all. I generally go by Native or Indigenous. Most Natives don't like the term American at all because it's not the actual name of the land. It's just, you know, inaccurate. But I understand that that's like the way people see the term because of America and the fact that it was renamed or whatever. But yeah, no, this is still Turtle Island. So as a Native, but how do I feel in today's society, in today's American society? That's the other thing about America, like the word American. As someone who's a Caribbean Native, American is a very United States term, because even though Americas, both of the North and South America are continents, the United States and people who live in the United States are very self-centered. Yes, I said it. It is the truth. They're very self-centered and they think that they're the only Americans in both continents, even though they're technically stations. The correct title for, you know how like I was born in the Dominican Republic, so I'm like Dominican. The United States, people born citizens of the United States are technically Stasians. That's their actual name, but they go by American because I guess it sounds better. But America's two continents, right? So this is what I mean by this, the self-centeredness of when you say, oh, you're American. Okay, well, people from South America are also American, technically. People from Mexico are also American because they're Central Americans, right? So it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. People in Canada are also Americans, but you know, you can't argue with people from the United States about stuff like this because it's a whole headache. So when it comes to the question itself, there's problems with the question. That's why I'm phrasing it like this. So how do I feel in today's American society? Are you talking about the United States society, which what I think you're talking about? Or are you talking about something else, right? So as far as how do I feel, let's say it's a United States society. One, I'm a Caribbean Native, so I grew up culturally different than Native Americans in the United States and Canada, which generally have like reservations, and you know how they treat natives has been, I mean, how all colonial bodies have treated natives is horrendous. But if we're talking about the United States, I can't relate the same way. Like we are still like, I'm cousins with natives from North Americas, right? But I ain't them, right? Because I'm a Caribbean Native, so culturally I grew up different, and the practices were passed on different, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely it's different. It's just different. We don't have reservations in the island, so it's just a whole different thing. How do I feel being a Caribbean Native, being in the United States? Missing my land, missing my islands all of the time, missing my people all of the time, feeling very displaced all of the time, being irritated by that all of the time. But as far as how do I feel about American society, is very much colonial, is very much American society, period. Out of all of the countries in the world, I think the United States is actively trying to kill its citizens with the food, with everything. Anytime I fly anywhere, to my own island, to anywhere in the Caribbean or anywhere else in the world, I literally, like, the inflammation that the foods and the stuff that you take in the United States give you, it's so bad for your health. Like, being anywhere else is just so much healthier. I think American society is just built on capitalism and just trying to basically milk people, farm people for money, for people who are wealthy. That's it. That's really how I feel. But it just, as a native, it just makes me feel very displaced from my people, even though I have, you know, we're part of the diaspora. Being up here, I hate the winter time. It's not my temperature conditions for myself as a native. This is not my like normal weather. I know my cousins up here who are native to up here to Canada, to North America, very much comfortable in the space, but I'm very much an island native, and I'm just like, I hate being up here sometimes. I miss my people all the time. I miss the food. I miss the things that naturally grow in the land that we eat all the time that I can't have access to here. I feel like the United States is just, it's just a farm of pain and health issues. It's American society. That's just what it is to me. I could probably rant about that all day. But it is what it is. But with that said, I'm going to answer the second question that I got asked, which was, hold on, I'm trying to find it. Oh, there we go. Dom Terry asked, what percentage would you need of Indigenous PR to be considered quote unquote Taino? I can into the 11-12% range. And this is when we start talking about blood quantum. First of all, I don't care about blood quantum. Blood quantum, while it is very much a United States American term, it gets used around and to attack natives from other parts of the, what is called the Americas, Central America, South America, Latin America, whatever, all of the time, even though literally it only applies up here. We get attacked all of the time. So natives, for those who don't know what blood quantum is, Native Americans are the only human beings in the world that have to have a certain percentage of DNA blood to be considered what they are. The only ones in the world. Blood quantum is basically, okay, well, you don't have enough to be considered this, even though being native has nothing to do with that. Yes, you should have the blood. You need to have the blood, even though there are times that you can become adopted into a tribal community. And that depends on like the elders and stuff and those ceremonies. But you need to have the blood. Obviously, you need to be connected to the ancestral parts of it, right? But blood quantum is something that is very like divisive. One, I don't care about blood quantum. Blood quantum, like my ancestors are not divided in percentages and quarters. Like they're just part of my ancestry. I'm not gonna sit here and like divide them and chop them up into pieces like, oh, I got one toe from my ancestors. Like, we're not doing that today. It makes no sense. Okay. And it's the only reason why they do that is to continue to take land. And to basically, the whole point of blood quantum is to exterminate natives. Eventually, through time, they will end up exterminating themselves, because at one point, once people fall in love with someone who is not native, and their kids have too low of a blood quantum, they won't be able to be registered and enrolled in tribes and in their respective like ancestral lineage. They won't be able to be enrolled because guess what? The government doesn't consider them native anymore, so they can't be. And they have to integrate into society and be, you know, under a colonized system for the rest of their lives. Capitalism and colonialism, basically. So yeah, no, I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what percentage you have to reconnect. The problem within the Taino community and this percentages really comes from people who weaponize percentages. There's different people who will, you know, claim that we have to be a certain percentage or something like that. There's some people, like, even though like, no, like you need to literally, part of what connects you to a community is your language, your culture, your people, right? yes, blood is important because we're all connected in that way, but the amount that you have, that's not going to stop you from learning the language. That's not going to stop you from practicing your culture. That's not going to stop you from communicating to your community. So that has nothing to do with it. Percent does not matter at all if you're trying to reconnect, if you're trying to get to know or be a part of a community. There are different yucayecas that do have a percentage baseline, but there are a lot that don't too. So you just have to kind of do your research and, you know, get to know the elders within the community and what they value, because some do value a higher percentage and some don't, and that's fine. But I personally don't care about blood quantum. It's not about blood making Taino. It's if you could have Taino blood and literally not practice the language, the culture, or be in community, and guess what? You're not Taino. You just have it in your ancestry. You're not practicing your culture. You will have it in your ancestry. It's part of your ancestral lineage, basically. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's the difference between that. You're either practicing your culture, you're reconnecting to your culture, you're learning the language, you're doing all the stuff, or you're not, and then you just have it in your lineage. That's it. That's literally it. So yeah, we don't care about blood quantum here. I hope that answered the question. I hope that answered your question. And yeah, I hope that answered both of the questions that I was asked. The first one, it's a little hard because of the terminology, but I hope it gave some insight. Anyway, I love you guys. I will see y'all in the next video. Have a blessed day. Bye.